ladies and gentlemen. When someone truly values you, they will always find a way to stay connected, no matter the circumstances. It doesn't matter if life gets busy, if schedules don't align perfectly, or even if miles separate you. When a person genuinely misses you, they will make an effort to bridge that gap. And the thing is, it's not about grand gestures or over-the-top efforts. Often it's the small, consistent actions that reveal just how deeply someone feels your absence. A man who misses you will find excuses, sometimes subtle, sometimes obvious, to reach out. Maybe it's a random text just to ask how you're doing. Maybe he sends you a funny meme that he knows will make you laugh. Or perhaps you notice that he tends to message you at night when everything is quiet and his thoughts aren't distracted by the noise of the day. That's because in those moments of stillness, his mind naturally drifts to you. Sometimes staying connected isn't even about direct messages or calls. He may engage in indirect ways, watching your social media stories, reacting to your posts, or even commenting on something you shared. This is his way of staying involved in your world, even if he's not ready to say outright, "I miss you." And let's talk about those so-called accidental encounters. Have you ever noticed how he suddenly starts showing up at places you frequent? Maybe he runs into you at your favorite cafe, or he just happens to be at the gym at the same time as you. Trust me, in most cases, it's not a coincidence. It's a conscious or subconscious effort to be around you. Then there are the deeper, more meaningful ways he tries to maintain that connection. He remembers little details about you, how you like your coffee, your favorite movie, or the things that make you smile. He brings up past conversations, reminding you that he listens and pays attention. He checks in on you, not out of obligation, but because he genuinely cares. You see, when a man misses you, the distance won't create silence, it will create effort. He will ensure that in some way you feel his presence even when he's not physically there. And here's the truth. People always make time for what matters to them. If he truly misses you, you won't have to wonder. His actions will give him away. It's not about overwhelming you with messages or constantly demanding your attention. It's about the steady, undeniable signs that he still wants to be part of your life. Maybe he sends a song that reminds him of you. Maybe he asks about your family, your job, or the things you've been passionate about lately. These are not random acts. They are reflections of the space you occupy in his mind. So pay attention. If he finds ways to stay connected, even in small ways, he's telling you something loud and clear. He feels your absence, and he wants to bridge that gap. When someone truly misses you, it's not just a fleeting thought. It's a feeling that lingers, a presence that stays with them even when you're not around. And one of the strongest signs that a man deeply misses you is when your memories are always on his mind. It's not just about remembering you. It's about actively reliving the moments you shared. Memory is a powerful thing, especially when emotions are tied to it. The human mind naturally recalls experiences that had a strong emotional impact, whether those emotions were joy, excitement, comfort, or even longing. If a man keeps bringing up past moments with you, if he revisits old conversations or reminds you of little details from your time together, that's a clear sign that you've left an imprint on his heart. You might notice it in casual conversations. He could say things like, "Remember that time we got caught in the rain and ended up laughing the whole way home?" Or, "I was just thinking about that crazy road trip we took. That was one of the best weekends." He's not just bringing these moments up for no reason. He's thinking about them because they matter to him. These memories make him feel something, and he wants to share that feeling with you. And it's not just the big moments that he recalls. It's the small, seemingly insignificant details that reveal how much he cherishes the time you spent together. He might remember the way you take your coffee, the song you once said was your favorite, or how you always order extra fries even when you say you're on a diet. If he brings up these little things, it's because they stuck with him. And why do they stick with him? Because when a man is emotionally invested, his mind holds on to the pieces of you that make him feel connected. Sometimes he may not even directly tell you that he's thinking about the past. Instead, you might notice him referencing things in subtle ways. He could share a song that reminds him of a time you were together, or he might randomly ask, "Hey, have you been back to that little cafe we used to go to?" These are his ways of mentally revisiting the past with you, of reliving those moments in his mind and hoping you remember them too. And then there are the deeper, more emotional signs. Maybe he tells you, I miss the way we used to talk for hours. Or I was just thinking about that time you gave me the best advice. I really appreciated that. These statements aren't just reminiscing, they are indicators that he feels the void of your presence. When a man starts to acknowledge what he misses about you, it means those memories aren't just in the past for him, they are very much alive in his present. Another thing to pay attention to is how he reacts when something reminds him of you. Maybe he sees a movie you both loved and he texts you saying, "Just watch this again. Made me think of you." Or he eats at a restaurant where you once shared a great meal and suddenly he's messaging you about how much he misses those times. These are moments where his heart is pulling him back towards you, where nostalgia is making him feel the depth of your connection all over again. And let's talk about the science behind it for a moment. When we experience strong emotions with someone, our brain creates neural pathways that connect those emotions to that person. This is why certain songs, places, or even scents can instantly trigger memories if he finds himself thinking about you whenever he hears a particular song or visits a certain place. It's because those experiences have become intertwined with his feelings for you. The brain naturally holds on to meaningful connections, and if he constantly finds himself reminded of you, it's a sign that you were and still are important to him. Another sign that he can't shake the memories of you is when he compares new experiences to the ones you shared together. Maybe he goes on a trip and says, "It wasn't the same without you," or he tries a new restaurant and mentions, "I kept thinking how much you would have loved it." These comparisons indicate that he's measuring new experiences against the ones he had with you, because in his mind, the time he spent with you set a standard. Sometimes his way of holding on to memories might even come through in more personal ways, like holding on to things that remind him of you. Maybe he still has a small gift you gave him, or he keeps photos from your time together. If he hasn't let go of those physical reminders, it's because they still hold emotional weight for him. Even when he's not actively reaching out, if you notice that he still follows your life, whether it's through mutual friends, social media, or simply keeping up with the things you once talked about, it's because he still feels connected to the life you shared. Maybe he remembers that you were working toward a big goal, and months later, he asks, "Hey, did you ever finish that project you were excited about?" That's not just casual curiosity. It's his way of staying emotionally invested in you. The bottom line is this: when a man keeps bringing up memories, when he constantly revisits the past, when he holds on to small details and finds ways to relive moments with you, it's because those experiences meant something to him. They weren't just passing events. They were moments that left an impact, moments that continue to echo in his mind. Missing someone isn't just about feeling lonely. It's about recognizing the depth of a connection that still lingers. If he keeps bringing you up, if he holds on to memories and revisits them often, it's not just nostalgia, it's a sign that you still hold a place in his heart. In today's digital world, social media has become an extension of our daily lives. It's where we share our thoughts, moments, and experiences. And when a man misses you deeply, one of the most telling signs is how he interacts with your social media. His engagement isn't random, it's intentional. It's his way of staying connected to you, even if he's not speaking to you directly. Think about it. When you miss someone, you naturally want to know what they're up to. You wonder how their day is going, what they're feeling, and whether they're thinking about you too. Social media provides an easy way to keep that connection alive without having to pick up the phone. If he consistently watches your Instagram stories, reacts to your posts, or likes your pictures, it's because he wants to be involved in your world. Pay attention to how he engages. Does he react with heart emojis or thoughtful comments? Does he respond to your stories with inside jokes or references to past experiences? These aren't just casual interactions. They're deliberate choices to show you that he's still paying attention. When someone truly misses you, they don't just scroll past your posts. They stop, engage, and find ways to let you know they're there. It's also interesting to observe how his activity changes when you post something specific. If you upload a picture looking particularly happy or attractive, does he suddenly appear in your notifications? If you share a song lyric or a quote that hints at emotions, does he react or reach out? These are signs that your posts are triggering something in him, whether it's nostalgia, curiosity, or even longing. Another major indicator is when he starts posting things that seem directed at you. Maybe he shares a song you both loved, a meme that relates to an inside joke, or a memory from a place you once visited together. Even if he doesn't tag you, the timing and content can reveal a lot. It's his way of subtly reminding you that he's thinking about you, hoping you'll notice and respond. Sometimes his presence is quieter but still noticeable. He may not always comment or like your posts, but he watches everything. If he's always one of the first people to view your stories, that means he's checking in, making sure he doesn't miss what's going on in your life. Even if he's trying to stay distant, his actions betray him. He can't help but keep an eye on you. Social media engagement is the modern way of maintaining a connection without direct communication. When a man consistently interacts with your content, it's because he's looking for a reason to feel close to you. His digital presence is a reflection of his emotions, showing that even when he's not speaking, he's still thinking about you. When a man truly misses you, he won't just wonder about you in silence. He'll seek information, even if he doesn't reach out to you directly. One of the clearest signs that he deeply misses you is when he starts asking about you through mutual friends. This isn't just idle curiosity. It's an emotional pull that makes him want to stay connected to your life, even if he's not ready or able to speak to you himself. Think about it. When someone is no longer a part of your daily life, the only way to get updates about them is through the people you both know. If he's asking how you've been, what you're up to, or even if you're seeing someone new, it's because he still cares. He may not always admit it, but his actions say everything. A man who has moved on completely won't feel the need to check in. But if he's asking about you, if he's making an effort to get a glimpse into your world through mutual connections, it means you're still on his mind. The way he asks about you can also reveal a lot. If he casually brings you up in conversation, saying things like, "Hey, have you talked to her lately? How's she doing?" He's testing the waters. He may act as though it's just a passing question, but deep down, he's hoping for an answer that reassures him, something that gives him a sense of connection to you. Sometimes he might be more specific, asking about certain things he knows were important to you. He could ask, did she ever get that promotion she was working for? Or is she still traveling as much as she wanted to? These aren't just random questions. They show that he still remembers the details of your life and that he cares enough to follow up. What's even more telling is when he asks about your love life. If he's wondering whether you're dating someone new or if you've moved on, it's because he still feels emotionally invested in you. He may not be ready to come back into your life, but the thought of you with someone else stirs something inside him. He wants to know where he stands, even if it's from a distance. In some cases, he might even go beyond asking and start fishing for information. He might say things like, "I saw her post the other day. She looks happy." Or, "I heard she's been going out a lot lately." These comments aren't just observations, they're subtle attempts to see how others react, to gauge whether you've truly moved on or if there's still room for him in your life. Another major sign that he's missing you is when he lingers in conversations about you. If mutual friends bring you up, does he stay engaged in the discussion? Does he ask follow-up questions or seem genuinely interested in the details? A man who isn't emotionally attached would quickly move on to another topic, but a man who misses you will hold on to every bit of information he can get. Sometimes his friends may even tell you directly that he's been asking about you. You might hear things like, he was wondering how you've been doing, or he asked if you're happy. When this happens, it's clear that he's struggling with your absence, even if he doesn't say it to you directly. It's also important to pay attention to the frequency of these questions. If he asks about you once or twice, it could just be curiosity. But if he repeatedly checks in, if he consistently tries to gather updates on your life, that's a sign of something deeper. It means he hasn't let go. He's still emotionally attached, still thinking about you, and still trying to maintain a connection in whatever way he can. In some cases, he might even use mutual friends as a way to subtly send messages to you. Maybe he says something like, tell her I said hi, or I hope she's doing well. These aren't just polite words, they're ways of keeping himself present in your thoughts. He wants you to know that he's still thinking about you without having to say it directly. And then there are the more indirect ways he might seek information. Maybe he doesn't ask your friends directly, but he starts spending more time around them. If he suddenly becomes closer with people he never used to talk to before, especially those you're still close with, it could be his way of staying in the loop. He knows that by keeping those connections alive, he'll continue to hear about you in some way. A man who truly misses you doesn't just disappear completely. Even if he's not reaching out, even if he's trying to keep his distance, he'll still find ways to stay connected to your life. And one of the most common ways he does this is by asking about you through the people you both know. So if you hear from mutual friends that he's been asking about you, take it as a sign. It means you're still on his mind, still in his heart, and still someone he's not ready to forget. Whether he eventually acts on these feelings or not, the fact that he's making an effort to stay informed means that in some way he still feels connected to you. When a man misses you deeply, his emotions will often show through his behavior, even if he tries to hide them. One of the most telling signs is when he becomes unusually emotional, nostalgic, or even moody when your name comes up. This reaction is not just about remembering you, it's about feeling your absence in a way that affects his emotions and actions. And pay close attention to how he reacts when people mention you. If his tone shifts, if he suddenly becomes quieter or more reflective, it's because he's processing feelings he might not even be ready to express. He might try to brush it off with a casual remark, but his body language could tell a different story. Maybe he looks away, sighs, or even changes the subject quickly. These small signs reveal that your absence has an impact on him. Sometimes, instead of withdrawing, he might start talking about you more. He could bring up inside jokes, past experiences, or moments that meant something to him. This isn't just reminiscing, it's his way of reliving those memories, holding on to the feelings he had when you were around. Nostalgia is powerful, and when a man starts to dwell on the past, it's because he wishes he could bring some part of it back. His emotional shifts might not just be about sadness or longing. He could also become irritable or moody when your name is mentioned, especially if he's struggling with unresolved feelings. If he gets defensive, dismissive, or even annoyed when people talk about you, it's not because he doesn't care. It's because he cares more than he wants to admit. When someone is truly over a person, they don't feel the need to react strongly. But if he still has emotions tied to you, they will show through his words and actions. You might also notice that his mood changes when he sees you. If he looks happy and excited one moment, but distant or overwhelmed the next, it's because being around you stirs up emotions he can't control. He might try to play it cool, but emotions have a way of surfacing, especially when feelings run deep. Another major sign is when he turns to unhealthy distractions or coping mechanisms. If he starts drinking more, partying excessively, or making impulsive decisions, it could be his way of trying to escape the feelings he hasn't processed. On the flip side, he might suddenly become overly focused on work, fitness, or other activities to keep himself busy, because if he stops, he knows his thoughts will drift back to you. When a man misses you deeply, his emotions will show whether he wants them to or not. Whether it's through nostalgia, mood swings, or avoidance, his reaction to your name, presence, or memories is a clear indication that he hasn't moved on. His heart still feels the weight of your absence, and no matter how hard he tries to hide it, his emotions will always reveal the truth. When a man misses you deeply, his actions will always reveal the truth. It's not just about the words he says. It's about the effort he makes, the memories he holds on to, the way he engages with your world, and how your absence affects him emotionally. Whether he stays connected in small ways, asks about you through mutual friends, or struggles with his emotions when you're mentioned, these signs all point to one undeniable fact: you still matter to him. Missing someone isn't just a fleeting thought. It's an emotional experience that lingers. It affects the way he interacts with others, the way he remembers the past, and even the way he navigates his own feelings. No matter how much he tries to suppress it, the signs will always surface, because when someone truly values you, they can't just erase your presence from their life. You've left an imprint too deep to ignore. The key is to recognize these signs for what they are. If a man is showing you through his actions that he misses you, it means there's still an emotional connection. The real question is, what do you want to do with that knowledge? Will you open the door for reconnection, or will you take it as confirmation that you were always worth missing? Either way, remember this: when a person truly misses you, they will find a way to show it.